One comeback kid who has never fallen foul of the establishment is seven-time Tour de France winner Lance Armstrong. However, over the course of his 20-year cycling career, there have been plenty of attempts to discredit him. Rumours of performance-enhancing drug taking have sat on his back wheel since the early days. But the road racing whiz, who describes himself as the most tested athlete in history, proved as successful at fending off doping allegations as he did at beating his fellow competitors. He was given quite a run for his money in 2005 by French newspaper L'Equipe, which insisted it had proof that samples of Lance's urine collected during the Tour de France in 1999 showed indisputable traces of a banned substance called EPO.
Les premiers documents sont les résultats d'analyses pratiquées.
The first documents are the results of tests carried out by the worldwide known French doping laboratory at Châtenay-Malabry on samples taken between 1999 and 2004, based on 3 different EPO tracing parameters, which establish that a certain number of anonymous samples carry EPO traces. The resulting court case ruled that the urine samples had been improperly handled and tested, and Lance lived to race another day.
The questions have continued, the suspicion has continued, but the only other thing that's really continued, and I think is the most alarming thing, is the performance. I've not gone away. And I think sometimes you see athletes where they get a lot of attention, a lot of scrutiny, and the crush does come on, and the performance diminishes. And I'm proud to say that that's never happened with me.
Bouncing back from the persistent doping claims was a downhill ride compared to the mountain he'd had to climb back in 1996 when he was diagnosed with testicular cancer.
And showed me the ultrasounds and the other x-rays and said we had a problem. And of course, I just, what everybody does, I was in denial. I thought this can't be, because I'm 25 years old, I'm one of the best in my sport, and why would I have cancer?
The disease had spread to his brain and lungs, and doctors gave him less than a 50% chance of survival before committing him to a brutal regime of surgery and chemotherapy. It provided him with a supreme test of his battling spirit. Not only did he beat the doctors' odds to survive, he ended up winning the toughest road race in the world less than 3 years later. In July 2004, after repeating the phenomenal feat 4 more years in a row, he looked on track to secure his 6th straight Tour.
He's a great sportsman, of course, very strong, very dominant. It's not easy to win the Tour 5 times, and yeah, it will be 6 times, yeah. It's a strong man, of course.
He'd become such a dead cert that hundreds of American fans had made the trip to Lons-le-Saunier to cheer him home.
Lance is going to win. Yes? Yeah, I'm positive. I guarantee it.
We're rooting for him. We hope he goes for his 6th victory.
Great guy, survives cancer. A hero, American hero. We love Lance Armstrong.
He's prepared, he's physically fit, nutritionally fit, psychologically. I think everything's fine. He's got a great team. So he can't lose. He's not alone. He's got a great team that's working for him. So he can't really lose.
Even comedian Robin Williams had rolled in for a look-see.
My feeling about Lance is extraordinary. It's like, je crois que la 6e fois, merci Dieu, c'est la gagner le maillot jaune en Paris. I'm here especially for him and for l'équipe postale aussi. Pour l'équipe postale, c'est le train de grande vitesse postale. Au revoir, soyez sains, soyez secs maintenant alors.
Lance duly obliged, breaking the record of 5 wins which he'd shared with 4 other riders. Having defied ridiculous odds on countless occasions to claim such a lofty place in cycling history, no one was betting against him going one better the following year. Aside from putting even more distance between him and his nearest rival in the record books, his 7th victory also brought with it a poignant reminder of the hard race he'd ridden to get there. Before beginning his chemotherapy back in 1996, the doctors had advised him to bank some of his sperm if he had any hopes of having kids. He'd taken their advice, and 9 years later, on the eve of his retirement, his 3 children accompanied him to the podium.
First and foremost, I think the biggest inspiration in my life now and the biggest inspiration in this decision is my children. They're the ones that make it easier to suffer, but they're also the ones that have told me that it's time to come home.
And surely he'd earned the right to put his feet up. By the age of 34, he'd won every media award going, and it was time to concentrate on his personal life. As well as setting up the Lance Armstrong Foundation to support people affected by cancer, he ploughed plenty of energy into high-profile romances with Sheryl Crow, Ashley Olsen and Kate Hudson. Finally, in 2008, after doctors predicted he would never be able to father children naturally, he announced his latest girlfriend was pregnant. True to Lance Armstrong form, however, that wasn't the only piece of odds-defying news. On the 9th of September 2008, he declared that he would be making a return to pro cycling, with the express goal of winning the 2009 Tour de France.